The power's out. Cell towers are overloaded. You try to make a call, but nothing goes through. The internet's gone. Text messages are stuck on sending. And suddenly you realize how dependent we are on systems that we can't see and can't fix when they go down. Now imagine it's not just you, your spouse is at work, the kids are at school, maybe a family member's out of state. Roads are jammed, information is spotty, and nobody knows what's happening. How do you reach the people that matter most? How do you stay informed? In this video, we're going to discuss how to create a communication plan that works when traditional systems fail. Download the Start Preparing Survival Guide to help you prepare for any disaster. I'll post a link in the description and comments section below, or visit cityprepping.com/get started for a free guide to help you get started on your journey of preparedness. If you're new to this channel, my name is Chris, and on this channel we discuss emergency preparedness, aka prepping. In this video, we're going to go over a practical, easy to follow framework for staying connected during and after a disaster, whether that's a storm, an extended power outage, or a full-on grid down scenario. Stick around until the end, and I'll share a free tool our team has put together for you. You don't have to be an expert or spend a fortune to do this. I'm going to show you what works, starting from the tools you already own and moving up through more advanced options that let you reach farther and stay informed longer. We're also launching a comprehensive communications course in our membership area in just a few days. It takes a deeper dive into everything that we talked about here: radio, satellite tools, planning, and real-world practice. It's part of our community learning series, allowing members to collaborate, ask questions, and share experiences within the forums. If you'd like to join us, a link to the membership area is available below. For this video, we're going to use a framework called the PACE framework, which stands for Primary, Alternate, Contingency, and Emergency. It's a simple but powerful way to think about communication. It's a plan that allows you to build layers, so when one method fails, another is already ready to take its place. As we often say in this community, 2 is 1 and 1 is none. Basically, it means having a backup plan when your options fail. This is not about memorizing frequencies or getting a ham radio license tomorrow. It's about giving yourself a starting point and adding options that match your comfort level. So let's get started. Plan 1, primary. The first letter in the PACE framework is P for primary. This covers communication tools that you use every day. That means your cell phone, calls, texts, email, messaging apps, and social media. It's where most of us start. Now, these tools are great when they work, but as soon as disaster hits, towers fill up fast. Sometimes calls fail, but text messages might still get through because they use less bandwidth. Text messages usually go through when calls don't because they use less bandwidth and can retry automatically. So make texting your first move when things start to break down. Now, before an emergency happens, start by doing this. Write down important phone numbers, whether that's family, close friends, emergency contacts, and one person who lives outside your region. Start that list on a small piece of paper and keep it in your wallet, in the back of your cell phone's case, maybe in your glove box, in a bug-out bag. Designate that out-of-area contact as your family's relay point. If you can't reach each other locally, everyone sends updates to that person outside of the affected area. Essentially, they serve as an operator, and anyone can call them if they are unable to communicate with the others locally. And for bonus points, I would encourage you to laminate this piece of paper. There's also been a significant change in the past few years since I last did this communications video. Satellite texting has now been integrated into phones. For example, if you own an iPhone 14 or newer, you might already have messages via satellite. It allows for short text messages even when there's no cell or Wi-Fi signal. Now, it's not lightning fast, but it can be a lifeline if you're stranded or your network is overloaded. Also, newer Android phones also have this feature. This is your first layer, your primary, because it's simple and it's familiar, but you can't depend on it to last. That's why we add backups. The next letter in the PACE framework is A. A is for alternate. It's all about staying connected locally. If the cell network goes down and your phone is not an option, your next layer is local radio communication, ways to talk directly with people nearby without relying on the internet or cell towers. In this section of the video, I'm going to cover 4 options. 2 of the options you may be familiar with already, as we've covered them on the channel before, but the other 2 may be new to you. Let's start with 2 options most familiar to this community. The first and the simplest is FRS radios, or Family Radio Service. These are the small handheld walkie-talkies, similar to the ones that I have here. And you can purchase them almost anywhere. They're inexpensive, they require no license, and they're great for short-range communication, such as checking in with neighbors, staying in touch with family during an evacuation, or coordinating within a few miles at most. Now, on the other end of the spectrum is a ham radio. This is a classic tool for local and regional communication. Even a small handheld radio like this can reach several miles on its own or much further through repeaters if they're still operational. Now, it does require a license, but obtaining one is very straightforward, and I've created a step-by-step video on the channel that guides you through the process, which I'll link to below. All right, let me circle back to the other two options that we haven't covered on the channel before. When discussing walkie-talkies, keep in mind that they have a limited range. However, if you want a little more range and power, consider GMRS radios, which stand for General Mobile Radio Service. You're going to need a simple license, which costs around $35, and it covers your entire family for 10 years. GMSR lets you use more capable handhelds or even vehicle-mounted radios that can reach several miles farther than basic walkie-talkies. Now, I have several friends locally who race trucks in the desert, and they all have this setups in their trucks. Another really interesting option that's gaining traction is something that's called Meshtastic. These are small, low-cost devices that send short text messages over a mesh network. No cell signal, Wi-Fi, or subscription required. Each device acts like a node that forwards messages, so a small group of families in the same area could build their own mini communication network that works even when everything else is offline. If you'd like me to cover the GMRS or Meshtastic options on the channel in more detail, please let me know in the comments, and I can provide a deeper dive on these topics in future videos. I'll also link some good resources below if you want to learn more about these systems now and how they might fit into your setup. Your alternate layer is all about coordination, staying in touch when the infrastructure is shaky, but you still have power and people within range. It really bridges the gap between your phone and the larger communication systems that we're going to discuss next. The next letter in the PACE framework is C. This stands for Contingency. It's all about reaching beyond your immediate area. When local systems are completely down, no cell towers, repeaters are offline, nothing but static, you move to your contingency layer. This is how you reach out to people outside your area or get critical information from the outside world. Let's start with satellite messengers. These devices connect directly to satellites and let you send and receive short text messages. I use the Garmin inReach Mini, which uses the Iridium satellite network. It also tracks your location and has a dedicated SOS button that alerts emergency responders with your GPS coordinates. It can send and receive text messages to cell phones. You don't need a subscription to do this, though. Other popular devices include the Zoleo, Motorola DeFi, and Spot units. All work on subscription plans, but each offers different features and coverage options. If you travel, hike, or just want the ability to contact loved ones from anywhere, these are worth every penny. Think of a scenario where your child is away at college across the country, phones are down in your area, and you just need to know they're okay. That little satellite messenger bridges that gap. Next, here's where we step it up, Starlink. If you haven't looked into it yet, Starlink is basically high-speed internet from space. It's one of the few tools that can restore full online access, including email, news, video calls, and everything, during a total infrastructure collapse. The version that I'm showing you here is portable, but they have a newer, smaller version that has recently come to the market. Now, this version packs down into a small tote, sets up in minutes, and once powered, automatically connects to the satellite network. I've tested mine and routinely see speeds of around 100 megabytes down and 50 megabytes up, depending on the location. That's enough to run emergency software, upload updates, and coordinate with others anywhere in the world. What's the catch? Power. Starlink draws more power than a small radio, so it needs a dedicated source, which we'll talk about in just a moment. Now, I look at Starlink as the top of the contingency ladder, when you need real data and real connection, not just text. If the grid stays down for weeks or months, having that capability is huge. Now, in the previous point, we discussed ham radios, but I would like to briefly mention them here again as we're discussing reaching out of your area. If you're already into radio, one more advanced option is WinLink, which lets ham operators send emails and forms through radio waves, no internet required. It's used by emergency networks worldwide, and it's a great next level skill to explore. I wanted to bring this to your attention as an option while we discuss this topic. The contingency layer is all about distance. It gives you a line out to the world when your local area goes dark. Before we proceed to the final point in our PACE network, let me point out the obvious. Every layer that we've covered so far depends on power. A communication plan without power isn't a plan, it's just wishful thinking. If you're just starting out, consider getting a small folding solar panel and a compact power bank. That will keep your phone, your radio, or flashlight charged for days. Now, if you're running larger equipment, such as a Starlink that we just went over, you want to consider upgrading to a solar generator. I've covered about every model on the market on this channel before, and I'll link to my solar generator playlist below. I would encourage you to test these systems out, no matter what it is. Don't wait until a crisis occurs to discover that your panel cable doesn't fit your battery, or that you're unsure how long your solar generator can power your devices. Gaining that knowledge through experience will reduce anxiety in the future. Okay, so let's proceed to the final consideration. Plan 4, emergency. The final letter in the PACE network is E for emergency communication. It's your absolute failsafe. If every power device that you have dies, this is where old school methods shine. Things like signal mirrors, whistles, and a lighter or matches. They've saved countless lives. A whistle can be heard hundreds of yards away with very little effort. A signal mirror can flash sunlight for miles. A fire can draw attention with smoke during the day and light at night. And these options, they fit in the palm of your hand and weigh next to nothing. Now, this layer is not glamorous, but it's simple, it's durable, and it doesn't rely on batteries or networks. And in the worst case scenario, that's exactly what you need. Putting it together, your family communication plan. All right, so let's tie this all together. I would encourage you to take a blank sheet of paper or download the family comms card that I'm going to link to in the description and comment section below and start filling it out. It's a simple worksheet to help you map your PACE plan and make sure your family's on the same page before the next disaster hits. List 1 or 2 tools for each PACE layer. Primary, things like your cell phone, text messages, iPhone satellite messages. Alternate, GMRS radios on channel 7, privacy code 21. Contingency, Garmin InReach Mini and Starlink portable internet. Emergency, things like a whistle, signal mirror, iPhone, SOS. Now you want to add check-in time so everyone knows when to try contacting each other if the grid were to go down or during times of emergency. For example, every morning at 8 a.m. or evening at 8 p.m. or for more dynamic situations at the top of every hour. Then define rendezvous points. One primary, one backup. Somewhere your group can meet if you can't get home. Write those down clearly. Finally, print copies of this plan. Put one in every go bag, glove box, and emergency binder. Even if you're separated, everyone will be aware of the plan, the gear, and the fallback times. That one sheet turns uncertainty into confidence. Here's the truth. Communication during a disaster is not about fancy gear. It's about redundancy and awareness. Start with what you already have, your phone. Then layer on a few more simple tools like radios or whistles. And as you progress, consider upgrading to maybe a satellite messaging option or Starlink if that aligns with your needs and budget. This is not an all or nothing setup. It's something you build over time, piece by piece, until you know you can stay connected no matter what. And that's it. That's your 2026 communication plan built around the PACE framework. Primary, alternate, contingency, and emergency. 4 layers that keep you connected when the grid, the internet, and everything else goes down. If you have any thoughts or feedback, feel free to post them below. And as always, stay safe out there.